What's up? It's a packed house at the McGuffey house. It's the Recap Lunch Hour brought to you by Hooters with Guff, Ryan McGuffey. It's not necessarily the lunch hour anymore, obviously. It's just after 2:30 here on this fine Monday afternoon. What's up, everybody? Sorry for the lateness. Just off of a plane. Man of my word. Here we are. The Recap Lunch Hour. Thank you, first off, to all of you who showed up on Friday at Hooters O'Hare. What a blast that was. Packed house. A lot of the familiar faces that are usually a part of this puppy on 12:30 every day. Not expecting this full of a house today because of the late start. Probably a lot of people on demand, but the room is populating. Phil Sims, the real Phil Sims, get to meet him in person. Pablo is there. We got to wear the aviators together. Chef Paul was there. Look at this. Pablo right there. Recap mid-afternoon hour. Appreciate you being here, Guff. Pablo, I wish we got to catch up more, man. I went back to your table, and you might have been in and out, but it was really appreciative for you stopping by on Friday in our first ever live on-site edition of the Recap Lunch Hour, brought to you by Hooters. Swayze, what's going on? I know I'm late. But here I am. It's 2:30. I was on a plane, and I didn't think firing up on a plane with 200 people, probably crummy service, etc. Astros, what's up? Happy March Madness and opening Major League Baseball week. I can't wait. Vizzo Joe, would you trade down and draft Hampton if Genty's gone? I'm expecting Genty to be gone, to be honest with you. A lot of people, I still think I would not draft a running back. I'm just going to be clear on that. I'd keep drafting dudes, physical, offensive, and defensive linemen. Eric, what's up? Eric and I shared a tweet or two over the weekend. Great weekend of college basketball. I thought Colorado State was going to pull off that against Maryland. Yeah, last second shot. Illinois was awful against Kentucky. Major League Baseball right on the court. I kind of fully expected the Illinois game to happen as is. It just, the things that plagued them all year showed themselves yesterday or last night. The Maryland game was an absolute stunner. Had the 7.5. Wish I could have played. When you're in the South, man, you can't get the bets in like you can up here in the North. Astros, looks like the Hooters girls took care of you guys. Love the show. Caught it later that Friday. Yeah, we had a big group join us in person and a lot of people watching that show live. We had a great time. Hector, how exciting was the Bulls performance on Saturday night? You guys, I'm ready to embrace the Bulls. Call me crazy. They're 7-2 the last 9. That game on Saturday night was ridiculous. It was a showcase performance for this group, and it's very clear, and Cap said it in the recap. DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine are really good basketball players, but for this offense and flow of an offense, etc., they slowed it down. It was kick it out to Zach to take a 3, DeMar for mid-range. This ball is moving at a pace. Josh Giddey, the 5th player in history to have the stat line he had, the first player in NBA history to have the stat line he had on Saturday night. And he was almost the 5th player ever to have a quadruple double. I think at this point, I'm ready to root the Bulls on because there's no hope they're getting Cooper Flag. There's a lot to like. The recap bet of the day might touch on the Bulls here in a minute. Jess, what did I tell you? So it's funny. If you go back on my Twitter feed, Jess, I said to Eric, I have to apologize to somebody on Monday. Well, Jess, here I am to tell you that Arkansas was much better than I expected. I apologize. You were right. The actual only Cinderella team is an SEC team coached by John Calipari. Cinderella Arkansas ousted what I thought was one of the best teams in America. I still think that. And St. John's is done. Rick Pitino is going home, and so is his son after getting beat by Sparty last night, who I'm on. I love Sparty. But Jess, I'm sorry. You were correct. And I said, no way. First of many live recap lunch hour shows. I sure hope so, Pablo. You get a pass. Thank you, Swayze. Was thinking that about what you said when Arkansas won. Great call. Yeah, go back on I definitely tweeted Eric the other day and said, I got an apology to make to Jess. Genty, either the Cowboys or Raiders. Yeah, I've seen him linked to the Raiders a ton. So here's what I don't want to do. If I'm the Bears, do not trade up for a running back, please. I do not want that to happen. So I don't see a situation where the Bears trade up to go get Ashton Genty. I really don't want that to happen. So if he goes 6 or higher, so be it. So be it. And you move on and you go from there, because I don't want the Bears trading up to get a position. I don't think that that's as important of a need as what they have throughout. So let's continue on. Phil, the real Phil Sims. Will you and Cap be doing an MLB prediction show only 3 days away? We are both doing shows. I'm doing a White Sox predictions podcast. Cap is doing a Cubs prediction podcast tomorrow. I'm doing a White Sox prediction podcast tomorrow. And we should be off and running from there. So I don't know if that's exactly what you're looking for, Phil, but we will both have podcasts from each team. Astro, is Keegan Thompson a bad decision by the Cubs? This guy was wrong. No, I don't think so. I think at some point you got to move on or cut bait from guys you had high ceilings and expectations for. And when you run into a 40-man issue, like Workman's got to stay on the 40-man. They have multiple issues there. I think Cam Smith, if he ends up being a stud for the Astros, that could be the one that hurts if you don't sign Kyle Tucker. The Bulls' win was their best of the season. James and Luka looked shell-shocked. Luka got teed up because he was so sick of the way Josh Giddey was playing defense on him with 8 steals. It wasn't their best win of the year. I think it was their best win in 3 or 4 years. I mean, they dominated the Lakers. All that talk about LeBron being back, that didn't matter. That was really fun to watch. No apologies necessary. It was a great game to watch. Can't wait to see how they do in the Sweet 16. Jess, you called it. You're the first and only one I know that was all over the Arkansas Razorbacks. How is your bracket looking, everybody? It's a very chalk tournament, so I feel like there's a lot of good brackets still alive. I had Clemson in one in the Final Four. That hurt. I had the Johnnies in another in the Final Four. That hurt. But the matchup I have in the national title game is Florida Duke. I know Florida was taken all the way to the put on task yesterday with a tight win over UConn, but they prevailed. I think those are the best 2 teams left in the tourney, and that includes Auburn. I got Michigan State because I want them in the Final Four. So here's what some people don't like the chalkness of the tournament. Look, it's going to be great basketball here from here on out. It's just going to be great basketball. And I don't mind it every once in a while, but the way things are going with NIL and roster turnover and the portal, this might be here to stay. My guy, Jerry, from March Madness to March Sadness, as my beloved White Sox begin their march toward their 3rd straight 100-loss season. I have never been less enthused about a team. I wagered the under 54.5. I don't think that's a terrible idea. I really don't. I'm not going to touch the over-under, but I'm concerned about the pitching depth of this team. I know Dane Dunning was a guy out there that's on waivers. The White Sox need just a bunch of arms to kind of get them through. I don't want them leaning too much on young guys that don't have a lot of career innings and are now sitting here going, well, we need you to get through 5 because we don't have anybody else. A guy like a Chris Flexen. I've been saying his name, not sexy, but led the team last year in innings. They need more guys like that. Way too many good running backs in this draft to be giving away draft capital, says Swayze. Totally agree. Hold the line, get a good one in the 2nd or 3rd round. I agree. Is Chicago Sportsnet doing a White Sox preview? I have seen nothing about it. I don't work for CHSN, but my take would be they are probably, we always did one. I'd be stunned if they didn't do a White Sox preview show. Josh, the Bulls honestly might need a future front court with Kobe and Josh Giddey. Now it's up to AK to actually build around this. I'm curious to see if Kobe White is on this team next year. It's going to be, they have a really interesting decision to make. He's actually, when Io was healthy, Io, I thought, played better with Josh Giddey. Now that Io's out, Kobe White seems to be doing just that. So they're going to be in a really interesting and precarious position with a very affordable Kobe White, who has just been on a tear at 36 on Saturday night. Guff, the Bulls beat the brakes off the Lakers. It was, like I said, it was awesome. From start to finish, an awesome, awesome game. Astro says, I'll tell everyone I will tell you, everyone will be seeing how Matt Shaw and Cam Smith turn out this season. Look, you guys are going to have to be patient with Matt Shaw. Like, the expectations are probably unrealistic. But my thing, I've said this for 2 months on this show, that I think there's a lot at stake when you're relying on advancement and projections of Matt Shaw and then guys like PCA, Miguel Amaya, and Michael Bush all to take another step forward. That's almost half of your lineup. It's a big ask. Kyle, happy Monday. Bracket busted with St. John's losing, and Illini were eliminated, but you can't get me down. So pumped for domestic opening day on Thursday. Go Cubs. Cubs, of course, playing out west in Arizona. Cubs did get a break by missing Corbin Burns. He's going to pitch the second series of the season, so the Cubs won't have to go against Corbin Burns. I thought of Ed, Shy Sox, Dane Dunning, or Lance Lynn. I don't see Lance Lynn coming back here. If it's like Lance Lynn needing to survive and continue to pitch, maybe, but I don't even see that. I don't think the organization would bring him back. I honestly don't. Texas hires Sean Miller as coach. Finally have their leader they needed since Shaka Smart. Hook 'em horns. Yeah, it's funny. Guy like Sean Miller, has a couple of losing years, didn't end well, had huge success at Arizona, then gets in trouble, goes back to a place he is familiar with. It's like this perfect reunion, and now it's gone again because he's won himself back up into a big, big job. And that's just the nature of college sports. It's Chris Beard is going head-to-head against Tom Izzo. And I forgot Beard was the coach of Ole Miss until he started knocking teams down, and he's back in a familiar spot. Do you honestly think the Cubs will come out of pocket to pay to Kyle Tucker? Says the real Phil Sim. I don't know. I really think I think a lot depends on this season. Now, if he goes out and has a terrible season, I don't see a scenario they're paying him $350, $400. I'm going to expect that Kyle Tucker has a season like he's done every other year, which is a 5-WAR type win player, just an absolute stud, one of the better hitters in the game. And then the question is, do the Cubs win the division and go to the postseason? And if they do, I think there's a chance that they can sign Kyle Tucker. Cap and I both have projected it at about a 5-1 shot right now. I think how the season goes depends everything. If the Cubs have another 83-79 year, it won't matter. I think a lot of guys won't be here next year, and Kyle Tucker will probably, unfortunately, be one of them. Guff, do you also feel that Tucker and Presley could be dumped at the trade deadline if the Cubs bomb in the first half? They'd have to, when you say bomb, they'd have to bomb. They'd have to be 8-9 games back of the Brewers or the Reds or whoever is going to be the first place team. I think the answer to your question, in theory, yes. Do I expect the Cubs to be that far back? No. But we know baseball is a weird game, okay? Baseball is a weird game. But the Cubs, this division, the Cubs should be the best team in the division, period. But to your point, I think that they could do something like that for sure. Swayze, do you think Modest will be better suited to play small forward? I like him there, but if he stays there, so do we draft a point or power forward in the draft? Well, we definitely know we don't give a damn about Patrick Williams, even though Williams had a decent game the other night, but the reliance on him is gone. If you can find somebody, if they can somehow creatively move him in the offseason. But yeah, I think at this point it is about Modest and others. And the question is, from this group, who have you identified to be those guys moving forward? That should be interesting to watch. Phil says, are you surprised that coaches aren't waiting until the tournament is over to go to other schools? Takes focus from the madness. Was it Will Wade who left McNeese before the game started to go to NC State? There's been more of that, which I think is interesting. Usually you see, like, the Drake coach just took the Iowa job, but that happened today. Drake got knocked out. But, with NIL and portal, guys, like, the portal opened today. I don't think the portal should open during the NCAA tournament. How are coaches supposed to be coaching, putting a game plan together for a tournament game this week when they're trying to also figure out which players are coming back and who are they going after in the portal? Guff, my buddy thinks Kyle Tucker will be like Jock Peterson a few years ago. Sign a name to dump. Jock Peterson is nowhere close to the player of Kyle Tucker. I appreciate your buddy, but that is absolute insanity to think those two players are even in the same breath. Hey, what's going on at Hooters? Well, we were there on Friday, and it was a blast. It was definitely the place to be for the tournament. Deciding on where to watch the tournament games, when you look at Thursday and Friday schedule, the original Hooters is a slam dunk. Catch all the March action at one of our 11 Chicagoland locations. Find one near you at originalhooters.com. Head to Hooters this March because basketball is better with hot wings, cold beer, and the Hooters girls. Watching at home, grab Hooters to go. Order online now at order.hooters.com, a proud partner of the REKAP Lunch Hour, as you guys are all aware. I saw somebody throw one in here, and I believe it was Pablo. He wanted to do a start bench cut on this Monday edition. So you guess what, folks? Here we go. Let's dial up a start bench cut from our boy Pablo, who started this whole madness back in October. Since it's spring break for a lot of people here in the McGuffey house, where is the best spring break location? Start the Caribbean, bench Cubs Sox spring training, cut anywhere in the Midwest, LOL. Pablo, you set it up on a tee for us and you answered it perfectly. Okay. The Caribbean is where we were last year. We're not there, obviously, right now. Totally agree. If those are my three choices, I'd probably even find a different bench, but those are the options. I'm running with those three. Really well done. Good picks right there. I'm sure I would guess for the most part, all of you agree, but if there's somebody who doesn't, okay, let's fire away and see what we have going on. Pablo also has something for Kyle. Great comment last Friday about the REKAP needing more on this day videos. I want to hear all of the inside stories from Chicago journalists, not national outlets that aren't here every day. Thank you, guys. I love hearing that because we're going to keep doing content. And if it works, we're going to do more. And if it doesn't, we're going to scale back. Some of those two on this days that we have so far need more eyeballs. So share and like with your friends, because I think the first two are good, but the Bulls one's fantastic. Do you think Modest will be better? Oh, we already did that. Swayze. Are you surprised? I've hit a couple of these comments here. What do you think about Dan Hurley acting like a complete bozo after the game? To me, it was totally uncalled for. Cap says, I swear, if you meet him, you'd have different feelings. I can't stop having the same feelings about a guy who is an ego. He does everything I try to tell my kids not to. Complain about refs, openly look like a boob, and after the game saying, oh, my ego and emotions get the best of me because of this incredible run we've been on. Dude, you know what? You're not the only team ever in the history of college basketball to go back-to-back. All right? Really good coach, but also a really good jag for the way he's acting. And I think it's ridiculous. I really do. Astros, I have not heard anything, but do you know, Guff, what the price hikes at Wrigley are guaranteed rate? I think guaranteed rate, you're going to see, they want you in the building. They have new food options. I don't think they raised ticket prices per se. Look, if you want to go to opening day this week, folks, you can get opening day tickets for the White Sox. I do not think they expect a sellout. It is disappointing to hear that, but there's going to be plenty of opportunities to get to the White Sox. Cubs, I do think it was like a 9%, if I'm not mistaken. I know. It gets people riled up, but it's a lot of people from what I would like to see our teams do here. You see the value menus at the concession stands that a lot of teams are doing now. I would like to see that here. There's zero reason we shouldn't be doing that here in Chicago with the output and production that we've gotten the last couple of years from our teams. That is a thank you to fans. Have a $5 value meal or a $5 value menu. There's no way that shouldn't happen, in my opinion. There should be $5 beer option every single night. A $3 hot dog every single night, and have the value menu available at certain stands, and you go from there. That's what fans deserve. Are the current odds that Luis Robert will be on the IL? What are the current odds? I said this on Friday. White Sox fans should be cheering hard for Luis Robert to have a monster 3 months. I separate the on the field. Let's hope he's on the field, assuming he's on the field, obviously. Monster, because then they can get a haul. I know it's a big if. He's played 100 games twice in his career, and last year was one of those times he played exactly 100 games. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do, but he does feel like the odd man out on a White Sox roster that just looks very strange. Young Sue, Illinois looks so bad. Too many 3-point shots. It looked like the Illinois team to me that when the team that had double-digit losses this year, that was the team that got beat. They got beat by a better team. Let's not pretend Kentucky was not better than Illinois all year. They were. Better basketball team won that game. I just don't think Illinois is as good as they have great talent. They don't get the most of them. This tourney is awesome. Lip Ripper, what's up? In person, highly recommend it. I've done it the last 2 years. Did not do it this year with a group of guys in different cities. Awesome. It's an awesome experience. You should definitely try to get it. Bone Thugs will be there opening day after the game at Ramova Theater. Yes, sir. How soon do you think the Sox will trade Robert? I think as teams see if he can stay on the field, maybe with an injury, teams move early. But as we know, with the exception of Luis Ariz in San Diego a year ago, very few guys are traded well before the deadline. We should definitely have a value meal at Stadium, says Just. Thanks, Chicago, for putting up with another frustrating year last year. And by the way, even if they win, they should keep it. Only negative thing is missing the other games. That's the value of being able to stream. No better food than Sox or Brewers home game, says Astros. 5 pitchers on Tommy John season-ending surgery is unheard of. I think it's up to 6. It is pretty. That's why I say the White Sox need more depth. Guff, they've been bad for seasons now. They're god-awful this season. When will the Hawks be competitive? Maybe in 2 to 3 years. I don't know if they can wait that long. They need to keep that number 98 man, that young man, number 98. They need to keep him happy pretty soon because he's going to show more and more frustration. Just the scrolls always, his mind wanders, doesn't it? Yeah, I did it with a bunch of guys. The tournament, you fool. You always try to bring out the best in all of us. No, we're not getting Cap on FaceTime today, Young. I know we had him in person on Friday at Hooters. You see another Juan. I don't know about another Juan Soto contract, especially the types of players that are coming in free agency. I think we'll see big numbers. I don't think we'll see those numbers. Let's do it. Let's get to what is becoming just another win on Friday, another cash. We laid the 16.5 with Sparty, and we got the win. And now, look, I'm back in the Bulls. I actually like multiple players here. We have been on a hell of a run here. We're 21-8, the last 29 and 14. What was it? And 12 and 4, the last 16. 37, 31 and 1. That record has significantly changed. I'm going Kevin Huerter over 13.5 tonight. This is how far the Bulls have come. They're only 3.5-point dogs to Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. Think about on the road. By the way, the Bulls are 18-18 on the road. That's insane. They're 18-18 on the road. I'm going Kevin Huerter over 13.5 points. He has been a machine. He's not afraid to shoot the 3 ball. He had 14. He didn't even hit a 3 the other night against the Lakers. Here's the road trip: 14, 25, 15, 17. Then he had a 9. He had an 18 and a 13. He has been scoring in bunches. I do like Kobe White over 23.5. I had a tough time going back and forth on this, but I'm going to go with Kevin Huerter. 14 points. I like the number. Okay, we need 14 points from Kevin Huerter to get to our bet of the day number today. Look, there's only so many college games we can take. We're going off the grid. We're going NBA, and that's what we're doing. Astros, real quick, seems like Bedard is more and more frustrated. Yeah, 2 10-minute misconducts in back-to-back games. They could be the worst team in the NHL yet again. Their young guys are coming. We know that. But I just don't think you can wait too long to pounce. All right. That's going to put a bow on this edition of the Recap Lunch Hour, brought to you by Hooters, our fine partners. And I thank you so much for those of you who showed up to our first live Recap Lunch Hour in person on site on Friday. It was a huge success. And we thank you for coming out to watch the games. I think our next one will be a Cubs watch party sometime later this summer. Appreciate you guys for sticking around for a couple hours. And sorry, Lip Ripper needs a break. I know what that means. I'm going to keep giving you a pick every day, even in baseball season. Okay? You got to get back on the horse when you're ready. A Cubs watch party would be great. Only if you're there, Jess. Only if you're there. Appreciate you guys watching. It's been the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff on this Monday afternoon edition, almost like a pre-happy hour lunch hour today. I'm Ryan McGuffey. For everybody at the Recap, Thank you. Have a great day. It is sunny. If you're home for spring break, if you have the kids, get out, enjoy the weather, enjoy the family, be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Have a great day. We will see you at our regularly scheduled time tomorrow, 12:30.